We can start from scratch. Okay, so let's begin. Step number 1. For this activity, you're going to need a reference image. And by reference image, I mean that you are going to need an image, a picture of the character that you're going to be creating, just for reference, so you can see the picture and understand the properties and understand the proportions of this character that you are doing. So where can you get an image like that, right? Okay, you guessed it, on Google. So you're going, first step, go into Google right here. Okay, go into the Google, open a Google tab, and just write Minecraft. In the search bar, you're going to write Minecraft Steve, so you can see all of these pictures. So go to images right there, and voila, now you have a lot of pictures of Steve. Now my recommendation is, you can choose any of this, but my recommendation is using this one. Okay, there's one picture, this is a good one. Let's open just to make it like that, and that's it. That's all you need. I mean, that's all the reference image you need, because you're going to be switching between windows, between this, the browser window, and the Blender window, so you can continue, or you can see the proportions here and try to copy those proportions into your file. Okay, so let's begin. First, you have to identify how many objects there are. And there are, I told you this the other class, there are 6 objects in this model. So you have 1 head, 2 arms, 2 legs, and 1 torso. That is a total of 6 objects. Now, these objects, all of these objects are similar objects. That means they are cubes, or basically we have 6 cubes. The difference is that we're going to modify these cubes in order to make them look like arms, legs, torso, and of course the head. So let's begin. We have a cube. Yeah, that is our first element. So we're not going to do much with this cube. All we're going to do is we're going to move it up. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So we're not going to create a perfect Minecraft Steve. I just want you to do something that looks like a Minecraft Steve, that looks similar to a Minecraft character. Okay, so this is the first new thing that you're going to learn. When you are modeling something in Blender, you have to be very careful with your views, with the way you are viewing the angles of your viewport, of your work area. So I told you, just a quick reminder. Let me activate this. I haven't activated this. Quick reminder. Okay. How to rotate. You rotate your camera with the middle mouse. Just click on the middle mouse and rotate it, or use this gizmo, okay, in the corner with the 3 axes. That's it. How to zoom. Zoom in and zoom out, just with wheel up and wheel down, all right? And how to move, it's just you click shift and middle mouse. Shift plus middle mouse lets you do this, okay? So these are the basic moves. You can check that out. Just press pause and go back if you don't remember exactly how to do any of those situations. All right, so I was telling you about the views. So we have different views, and the main views that you need to understand is this one, which where you are right now, where we are right now. This is called the perspective view. It is called perspective because you see the lines, and these lines go away to the horizon. They disappear. Okay, look at all of these lines. They go and they join together in a vanishing point right away over there in the horizon. So that is called perspective. You can see one object and you see distance of that object. Look at my cube. I have a cube right here, but if I take this cube and I move it on the y-axis, it's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller because I have perspective view activated. Okay, there is my cube. far away. Yes. Okay, that is one. That is the main view where you are usually doing your rotations and moving around. But that's not the only view. There are three other views that are very useful to create objects that are geometrical, like the one we're going to do. So to access these other views, you have to go to the view menu. It's right here. Okay, go to the view menu and then find your way to the viewpoint submenu right here. Oh, it's this one. Here you're going to see it. You have different options. You have camera, top, bottom, front, back, right, left. I'm going to choose front. Okay. Now see how this changed. Now we exit from the perspective view. We're not in a perspective view anymore. We are in a plane view, in a flat view. We are not looking objects in the distance. Just to clarify this. If I move again to my perspective view and I move this object again, look at this object right here. I'm going to move it a little bit to the left. Now look at this. I have my cube 1 and cube 2. This cube is big and this cube is smaller. It's not really smaller, it's just that it's far away. So since it's far away, it looks like it is smaller. In a perspective view, you have these differences in sizes depending on where your camera is located. Because this object is closer to my camera, it looks bigger. This object is far away from my camera, so it looks smaller. But if I go over my view menu and I activate my front view, look at what's going to happen. What happened? Well, it appears that my cubes are the same size because they are the same size. In a flat view, in a front flat view, you don't have perspective. The perspective gives you the illusion of distance. But right here in this orthographic view, it's a flat orthographic view. In an orthographic view, we don't have distance, we don't have perspective. But if I move again to my orthographic view right here, it's right there. Okay, it is right there. Now, again, viewpoint, front, it appears that my objects are in the same situation or at the same distance, but they are not. If I change my viewpoint to the top, now I'm looking up. Now look at my cubes. One is here and the other one is right here. Okay, so they are separated. They have a big distance. Let me bring this one a little bit closer. Yes. So I have one here and one there. So look at this. You see? I can transition from my top view or from my front view or from any view. I can transition to the perspective view. Again, top, right here. They appear to be the same size because they are the same size. And since I don't have perspective activated, I don't see a difference in size. Again, I go over to my front view. They appear to be the same size. But if I move to the perspective, now they change in size, you see, and one is in front and the other one is behind the other one. Okay, so that's important to know. So viewpoint, we have other options. So again, we have top, we have bottom, which is the same, only look from behind, from under. We have front and back, which is also pretty much the same, just front and back. And we also have left and right. Here we have viewpoint right and viewpoint left. Now, if you have a numeric keyboard, that is the numbers that are to the right of your enter and of everything on your keyboard. The numbers in your right hand are shortcuts to access these viewports. Look at this. Numpad 3, Numpad 1, and Numpad 7, and Numpad 0, it's also the camera. So if you have your numeric numbers, your numeric keyboard, you can access these viewpoints just by pressing number 7 on your numeric keyboard, number 1 or number 3. So right now I'm going to activate my front view, and this is where I'm going to start working. So first, I'm going to select the cube. Yes, just select it by clicking, and I'm going to activate my move tool right here. Okay, activate my move tool, and I'm going to take this up, but not here. I'm going to take this up. Look at these units. I have 1, 2 units. It's the size of this cube, 2 units height and 2 units width. So I'm going to take this cube, 1, 2, probably 3 units like this. Okay, I'm going to position my cube right there. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. Okay, so nothing too excited there, just I have a floating cube. Again, to the front. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my select tool, which is my select box tool, so, because I don't want to accidentally move it. And I'm going to duplicate this cube. To duplicate this cube, I make sure it's selected, and I'm going to show you how to duplicate. The duplicate command is a combination of keys on your keyboard. That is the combination Shift plus letter D. That's Shift D. So with the cube selected, make sure it's selected, press Shift D. And apparently nothing happened, but if you move your mouse, you see that you have a duplicate of the same object. Now be careful here. I'm not pressing any mouse key or any keyboard key. Okay, I'm just moving my cursor, and the cube is glued to my cursor. It's following my cursor, my mouse. Now I don't want to move this in all directions. I want to make sure that this cube is moving exactly on one axis, and that axis, the axis that I want to move it, is the Z axis. That's the blue axis. So in order to fix the movement, I want to limit the movement of this to only one axis. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press that letter on the keyboard. So if I want to limit the movement to the Z axis, I'm going to press the letter Z. Okay, so that's it. I'm only moving this on a Z axis. The same happens if I want to move this on an X axis, that is the red axis. I just press the letter X. I don't have to press and hold. It's just press and release. I'm not holding constant pressure on the letter. Okay, just press and let it go. And the axis, it's activated. So again, I don't want on the x-axis. What I want is the z-axis. So I press the z-axis, and I'm going to move the cube just a little bit down, just right here. Okay, just right there. And what I'm going to do is that is going to become my torso. Okay, I have to do something else before that cube becomes a torso. I want to make it taller or even longer. And this is why it's important to have the reference images. So I'm going back to my reference image to see, okay, I can see that my torso is smaller or thinner than my head, because I can look at I can see that the cube head, it has an area that is just coming over the rest of the torso. So the torso is thinner, but it has the same width of the head, but it's also taller. So it's taller and thinner than a regular cube. So I'm going to do those adjustments. So I'm going to select the cube, and I'm going to press a shortcut here, another shortcut key to modify it. You have two ways to do it. You can do the shortcut way, or you can do the transform tool for scaling, just like this. So I really prefer to using shortcuts. So what I mean is I can do this. Yes, I can do this. I can activate my scale tool and select the blue handle and just take it up, and that's it. And I have a taller torso. But I like shortcuts. And another way to do this is just by selecting the cube that I want to modify and pressing the letter S. S for scale. Okay. So I press S, and you're going to see this happening. What is happening here is I am scaling proportionally everything in all directions, in all the axes, in X, Y, and Z axis. But I want to make sure that this is only moving in one axis. What axis do I want to move here? I only want to move the Z axis again, because I want to make this taller. If I select the X axis, I can make this um, taller, but in a horizontal way, okay, thicker if you want. But I want the Z axis. So I want 3 units, something like this. But now it's overlapping. You see this area, this ugly area. My objects are overlapping one another. So I have to move it again. So I press G for grab. This what I'm doing, guys, is I'm explaining you the tool, which is the move tool, is this, but the shortcut for the move tool, it's the letter G. G for grab, grabbing things with your hands. Well, G is the shortcut, so I can move it again, and it's just the same that I just told you. I don't want to move it freely. I don't want to have all this movement. I want to limit the movement to the Z axis. So I press the letter C, and I'm going to make it just around there. I think that's good enough. Okay, I have to do one more thing. With these cubes selected again, I'm going to press scale, the S, and I'm going to scale it, but not like this. I want to scale it on the x-axis, not on the y-axis, I'm sorry. I'm going to scale it on the y-axis because I want to make this thinner. Remember, this cube is thinner and taller. So again, what did I do? I selected my rectangle, my cube rectangle, and I press the letter S, and then I press the axis Y, or the letter Y, because that's the axis I want to scale it. So until it becomes something like this. I think maybe thinner might be good. So I press the same combination again. I press the letter S, and then I press the letter Y. So it can scale only on the Y axis. Okay, I'm really happy with that. I really like that shape, the shape that it's taking. Okay, so what do I need to do now? Well, now I need to create my arms and legs. So if you see, the arms and legs of this character are the exact same size. Arms and legs is the same object, only repeated 4 times. So let's do that. I'm going to select this head again, and I'm going to duplicate it. Okay, remember, duplicate is the combination of keys Shift D. Okay, and I'm going to press the letter X because I want to move this in the X axis only. So I'm going to move it right here. Yes. And I'm going to make it smaller, a lot smaller. So don't be afraid to make your own adjustments at any moment. So right now I'm going to change my viewport again to the front viewport, because I want to move this exactly to be here, and also I want to move it on the Z axis to be right here. Now this is not an arm, not yet, okay, because the arms are long. So I want to make sure this arm is also long. So I'm going to scale on the Z axis and move my cursor until I have the size that I want. I think that is a good size. Viewpoint front. Now I'm going to move a little bit here, and I'm going to move down again because the arms go somewhere around this area. Yeah, right there. Okay. So look at this. This is what we have. Not too exciting, not yet, but we're getting there. So again, since I have one arm, I don't have to create the other one from zero, from scratch. I'm only going to take this arm and Shift D, move it on the x-axis, Shift D to duplicate. And I have the other arm. I have the second arm right there. That's pretty good. Now I need the legs, so I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to select one arm, and by pressing Shift D, I start moving. But in this case, I don't want to move it on the X or Y axis. I want to move it freely like this, and I want to make the leg go in this area right here. Yes. And I'm going to select this leg and duplicate it. And now I want to make it limited the movement to the x-axis. So I want to make the leg somewhere around here. Yes. Okay. So it's looking a little bit better now. It's almost there. We're almost finished. Okay, you have all the elements. All you have to do now is you have to select the arms and legs and rotate these elements to make it look like it's walking, just like this one. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to, again, select the object that you want to rotate. And in this case, the front view is not going to be a good choice. Right now, I want the right view. So I'm going to select right view. And on the right view, I'm going to start rotating my arm. Okay. Rotating the arm just like this. Now don't worry, because you're going to adjust your arm again like this. Maybe a little bit more like this. That's one arm. Now I wanted the other on that side. I think it's the other one, but I can do it again. So the left arm is going to be something like that. So again, don't be afraid to experiment or use your creativity. You have all the elements now, and the posing of your character could be anything you want. You don't have to make it pose like this. It can be any pose you need or any pose you want. So I don't want the two arms going up like this. So I'm going to take this arm, and from the right view, I'm going to rotate it and make it look like it's walking. Remember, that's what we're trying to do. Make it look like it's walking. So this is a basic activity, and this activity is designed to make you practice the basic transformation tools. Remember, the basic transformation tools of any 3D software are the moving, the rotation, and the scaling or sizing of the object. This is everything you're doing. This is all you're doing. You are rotating, you are sizing or scaling, and you are moving your elements. So right now you have the head, you have the arms, and you have the legs, but the legs are not walking. So let's position the legs in a similar fashion, in a similar way of this exercise, of this activity. So the left leg has to be in the front, and the right leg has to be in the back. So let's take this, which this is my left leg. All right, left leg. That reminds me, before moving anything, make sure you rename your elements in this area right here. As you can see, when you select something here, that element is selected on the viewport area, on your work area. But right now, the names are generic. Cube 001, Cube 002, Cube 003, 004, and 005. So right now, you know what element is which, so you can start selecting and renaming. It's always good to rename your objects, your elements. That way you're not going to get you're going to get lost in the thousands or hundreds of elements that you end up with in any project. So I select the head and just double click on it, double click on the name, and I'm going to name it head. This, I'm going to rename it torso. This is the left arm. I'm going to make it like this. This left arm, that's L. And this is going to be the right arm. This is going to be the left leg. And this is the right leg. Okay, so this is my naming convention. This is the way I name the objects. So I use L's for left and R's for right. It's just the way I'm used to doing it. So again, I select this leg. I'm going to my right viewport, right view, and this leg is going to the front like this. And this leg is going to the back, just like this. I think we got it. So if you move a little bit and start looking at your object, I think we have a pretty good prototype of a Minecraft model. Okay, so I'm going to try to pose it just very similar to this. You know what? I just realized that our legs and arms are too short. So if you want to make this legs and arms longer, you can do it. I'm going to leave it like that. Maybe the legs, because I think the legs are bothering me. It's bothering me that it's not the right size. So this part is tricky because I don't want to make one leg taller than the others. So that's it. Okay, I like it. I really like it. So that's it, guys. That's all for today. That was the activity. So make sure you save your progress, right? Control S, so you can save. Remember to save in a specific folder. And when you name your file, name it Minecraft. And then just so for organizing purposes, just make sure you write your name. Okay, Minecraft. And also, it's very important that you write the time of your class. Now, if you're looking at this video at 7 a.m., well, then that's your class, 7 a.m. or 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. or at the moment at the moment you're taking the class. Okay, right now I'm going to say 7 a.m. Right, and save in the file, and that's it. That's exactly what you're going to send me. Now, in another class, probably the next class, we're going to see, or you're going to learn how to give colors to this very interesting character that you have here. Okay, actually it's really simple, but it takes time. It's not, I mean, this is because this is the first time you're going to do it, it's going to take you time to do it, but it's actually not so hard, not hard at all, not difficult at all. Well, thank you very much. Finish your project, finish the activity, and send me the file when you have it ready. Remember, I am here for any questions you have. Just turn your microphone on and ask me any questions. Okay? Thank you very much. See you later.